and a hello to someone you're thinking about. To start, I started out with some crumb cake cardstock that I cut in half, and then I ran it through my Big Shot with the framed tulips embossing folder, which I love. So I actually ran the card base through the Big Shot with the folder, but if you don't like that on the inside there's going to be a debossed effect, then you can use a separate piece of paper and mount it on your card base. But I don't mind it, I actually like it. So I'm going to just use my bone folder to fold this card in half. So the stamp set that I'm using for this card, this is my card base, I'm just going to put it on the side, it's called Cute by the Inch, and it has really great stamps in it. So it has a variety. It is actually a 9 stamp set. You can make a bunch of different varieties of this card by deciding which 4 stamps you're going to use, because the card only has 4 stamps. So I'm going to use those 4, and that's what I'm going to stamp with today. I'm also going to use Early Espresso card stock and ink. So I have a small strip of Early Espresso cardstock, and what I've chosen is the textured cardstock because I like the way that looks as a frame, and a strip of white cardstock for stamping. So let's do our stamping. That's the fun part. Okay, when you're stamping, remember to ink your stamps well. Sometimes that means hitting various areas of your ink, and if you find that your inking is more difficult or that you're not getting a clear impression, then feel free to use a re-inker to improve the ink quality. So you can buy the re-inkers, and so that your ink pads last forever. See? Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and stamp down that cute little owl. Then I'm going to stamp down this flower. When you stamp, just push straight down and up without rocking, and you shouldn't get any impressions you don't want. Sometime I'll practice on my grid paper if it's a new stamp set. I've used this one quite a bit. And then finally, I chose this one because I think it's perfect for adding some rhinestones. So we're going to have some bling on this card. Okay, now I'm also going to add from the Fabulous Phrases set and the Smile. You'll notice that I actually keep my stamps that are small like this within their rubber backing, and this just keeps me from losing them. So it's very clear to see that the smile is out. I leave them in their rubber backing. So I've got this on a little tiny 8 block because that's the most convenient size for this. And I'm going to stamp that close to the bottom because that's a vertical punch. Okay? So I've got Smile stamped, and I've got all my stamping done. Now I'm going to pull out my punches. So for Smile, I'm going to use my tiny tag. And you can tell why I put it at the bottom of the white paper, because it needs to reach in. And then I have an inch punch, and so I don't have the Stampin' Up! Inch punch, but we do have one. I have an inch punch because I love inchies, so I had bought this years ago. It's doing wonders for me. And I'm going to punch out all these Cute by the Inch stamps. I just love that owl. And this little flourish type thing. Okay, now, so I've got my white paper done. I'm going to put that on the side. I'm going to create a mount for my inchies with the textured Early Espresso. So I'm going to punch out 4 Early Espresso squares. Okay, so here's a tip that you might want to remember. When you're working with a card where you have a particular layout that you want to do, it might be a good idea not to adhere anything until you've kind of locked down your layout. What exactly do you want here? So I want that kind of funky shape, and I want it to start about there. I'm going to see which squares do I like best where. So I think I love the owl being at the top, kind of like at the top of the tree kind of thing. The letters under him, the flower, and this little embellished piece. Okay, so I like that order. And then smile, I'm actually going to punch a hole in this because I'm going to use twine. Alright, and I'm going to put smile there like that, but I want to hang it off a piece of twine. So you're going to see that I'm going to actually hang it hidden behind this white swatch here. Okay, so before I continue, I'm just going to put the first one down. So basically the rule I'm saying is don't adhere anything until you're sure where you're going to lay everything down. And then set yourself some guides so that you don't forget your decision. Right? And when you press down in this case, so if you need a ruler to help you line things up, just lay it down next. So I'm not pressing down. I'm just placing. So there is adhesive behind there. But I'm not pushing down hard so that I have time to lift back up if I change my mind. Same thing here. Okay, I didn't press down yet. I'm saying, okay, does that look good? If I wanted to reposition, I could. And move it over a little bit. Okay. Once I'm sure I'm happy, and I'm not going to sweat this too much, if you're going to mail your card, you want to be careful that you make sure it's well adhered. I'm going to put this second one down first because I want to create a place for my string. Now here's where I love Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. This octagon shape is perfect for what I'm about to do. So I'm going to put one octagon right there, and I'm going to lay my piece of twine on the middle right there. Okay, now because of the octagon shape, I can use two more. I'm going to slam it right up against there. Okay, so that string is locked down, and that's where I'm going to mount my letters. Okay, so my smile is going to hang off of that. But before I do that, I'm going to do the other ones. So what I'm pointing out to you is this octagon shape can be very handy if you are trying to position twine or any kind of string or other embellishment so it doesn't move. The octagon shape enables you to sandwich things. Okay. Put this through here. I'm going to point out something else about the dimensionals. On the bottom here is a row that's not octagon, it's kind of just like a line. That is excellent for when you need a straight line. Like underneath this smile, I'm going to put a little piece of dimensional because I want it to stay in place. I've got a little angle. And then I'm going to tie a bow. So, there'll be a picture at the end. So thank you for coming and have a good night.